The voice of Husker Nation is on the air. This is Hail Varsity Radio. Insight, opinion, expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with the show at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Welcome to it. It's a road show Friday. Hail Varsity on the road. We're at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in Gretna, just off of 204th Avenue, 10746 South 204. To be specific, what an amazing setup. It's a cozy spot, plenty of tables, plenty of TVs. They just got done showing the replay of last night's magic at PBA where Nebraska took down Wisconsin 80-72. In overtime, we'll have plenty to say on that. Numbers to get in at 489-1240, 800-825-5865. To my left, Elijah Herbel's made the road trip. We say thank you and hello to a man that's been crushing Tums all day, Will Wilson. Back in studio. You're welcome to check the show out on the stream, the Hail Varsity YouTube channel. You can watch the show that way, different platforms, Hail Varsity Twitter feed at Varsity Radio, and of course our friends at 590 here in Omaha, ESPN 590, Omaha's ESPN, KFOR 1015 and 1240. Our friends in Central Nebraska, Kearney, Hastings, Grand Island, the Superstation, and up in Columbus at News Talk 900. Fellas, what a win last night. We'll get to our starting five, our roll call in the stream. But let me tell you about Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. You know the location. If you're just coming in off the interstate in La Vista, it's incredible. You've watched many a Husker match there. We invite you out here to Gretna. The Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in Gretna is fantastic. There's a Dylan sitting at the bar. Not that Dylan, but there's a Dylan in the audience here, which is great. They have signature pizzas that are incredible. The margarita is good. The Hawaiian, if you have that family member that does not like pineapple or pineapple on pizza, this will change their mind. Buffalo chicken, the wings are incredible. Wraps, salads, pasta. What else? Oh, yes. The Bang Bang sauce has made its way to Gretna. It is, listen, anything will taste better with the Bang Bang sauce. So you're invited out here. We're here 4 to 6 today and many more times here. The patio, Elijah, is exquisite. It is a large patio, and when it gets a little nicer outside, man, it is going to be a place to pour a cocktail and sit back and put your feet up. How we feeling? I have a court stormer to my left. Will Wilson back in studio was in the stands. I was in the media section trying to film it all, and it was something I'd never seen in my life. And I've seen Nebraska upsets. I've seen the big wins by Nebraska. I have not seen Nebraska come back from 19 down against a team that's knocking on the door of a 1 seed, for sure a 2 seed, and they'll make that case against Purdue this weekend on Sunday. But what a phenomenal second half run, starting about that under 16 timeout. It was unbelievable, and that's what's been the kind of the Achilles heel for Nebraska basketball fans this season. It's been what the games looked like, the good and the ugly. There's been some ugly, there's been some incredible, and you see glimpses of the incredible on display last night. And you want it to carry over on the road. We'll worry about Sunday when the Friday forecast comes up against Illinois. But
let's not ruin a good Friday.
No, we're not. No, we're not going to ruin a good Friday. So we invite you out here to Gretna, the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, where we're set up shop. A lot of characters stepped up. C.J. Wiltshire, phenomenal. Rink took over as well. And, it was a team effort, and you feel great for Fred. We'll hear from Fred. We'll hear Kemp Pavelka, Jake Mielheisen, artists last night on the radio with 3 minutes of highlights from KP and company. Jacob Padilla basketball insider. With us in 15 minutes, the pride of Fairbury is Bill Doleman, NBC Sports, the professor. He'll join us coming up at 5, and then Friday forecast. Plenty of room for you at 489-1240. So I've laid it out. Let's talk victory. Let's talk the far-fetched hope that became a reality.
Well, yeah, you talk about far-fetched, Schmidt, and the type of thing that you may only get a chance to see once in your lifetime, especially with Nebraska. Get the history behind this. AP top 10 teams had won 1,458 consecutive games when leading by 16 points at the half. Nebraska ends that streak. The last time an AP top 10 team had a 16-plus point lead at the half and lost was 2002. Number 6 Kentucky blew it against Mississippi State on January 5th of 2002. I don't even know who Kentucky's coach was in 2002.
Yeah, it might have been old Clyde. Clyde, because I think they came to...
It was Tubby Smith.
Okay, my fault. It was post-Clyde. But yeah...
I didn't know Tubby Smith coached for Kentucky. I'm kidding.
He did. No, Tubby coached, and part of his contract wanted a double wide for his parents.
Actually?
I think I remember Cowherd saying
luxury.
That. Yeah, luxury. He didn't just go mobile home for Ma and Pa. He went double wide. He went the Marcus Dupree special. But, yeah, you have to go back to that Kentucky team, and that's why Tubby was no longer at Kentucky very long, despite winning a national championship.
Yeah, I mean, that's what type of performance we saw last night from the Husker basketball team. A historic performance that we haven't seen in 22 years in the world of college basketball. It was unlikely. I think for the most part, Husker fans stayed in their seats through the half, I'll admit. Got off work. I didn't finally get down there till about 5 minutes left in the first half, and I immediately see Chucky Hepburn get 2 steals, break away, and get 2 easy layups. One of them
Chucky
coming and one.
7 straight.
And I went, oh, no, it's Chucky's revenge. That's what I thought last night was for last season, the blown lead. But I remember telling my buddy Kip at the half, who isn't as big of a Husker basketball fan as some out there, I told him, you probably don't remember this. You weren't watching, I know, because we were working out at the time. Nebraska was down by about the same margin last year when they played Wisconsin home, and they came back to it. And I said, but mind you, this is a much better Wisconsin team this year. And that is a very good Wisconsin team that Nebraska beat. But it was a combination of C.J. Wilcher, the fans, rink mast, a wonderful defensive effort from Sam Hoiberg. He really changed the game. I mean, Chucky Hepburn had, was it all 13 of his points in the first half? Or 11 of his 13?
Nine of his 13.
Something like that. Sam Hoiberg stepped in and had a marvelous defensive effort to really slow down Chucky in the second half. You had Storr kind of losing some of his momentum from a hot start. Nebraska took advantage. They get the win. And that's what that team is. They're exciting. They're good enough to beat anybody, but they're not good enough to be safe against anyone. So you got to turn ahead. You can't get too lost in the moment. And I think there may have been an instruction from Hoiberg, hey, if they storm the court, we're not going to be enjoying it as long as we did against Purdue because it's on to the next one. I think that's that team's mentality right now. It's on to the next one.
Fred lost his bleep at halftime. That's been confirmed in Fred's way, and then by C.J. Wilcher with BTN. And it was needed. And Fred has pushed the right buttons. We'll dive into if there's some more tweaks and button pushing to go on. Quick shout out, if you're on your way up from Lincoln for the Southwest Gretna game, you're invited out here to the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Come by, say what's up, as we are here at the new Gretna location. To the phones we go, and let's get kicked off. Who's with us, Will?
We got Tom on the line.
Tom, my friend, you've been hunkered down a long, long time watching Nebraska basketball. What did you see last night? Are you still smiling?
I've been in a state of euphoria since about 9:30 last night, and thank God for muscle relaxers. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to sleep.
A handful or just a little?
Just a little. Just a little. Hopefully, there's bigger things to come. Is it true to the rumor that Trev is working with the Big Ten Conference to get a 32-game home schedule next year?
If he's not, he should be, but knowing Trev, he is. And it's funny, Fred has mentioned a few times, hey, yeah, we can't enjoy it because we got another 2-game prep, and here's number 14 that used to be in the top 10. Schedule is just crammed together. It's a bit of a death march once you get to February, but no rest for the wicked for Nebraska. But no, it was awesome. Tom, again, those muscle relaxers, that's a good take because everybody's heart rate was going nuts last night. The Twitter posting of the college student that was like, it's at 170. It's like I'm trying to chase my dog after he got out from the backyard, and my heart rate I wish would stay at 170. But it was an exciting, nervous energy, and that's what's so awesome about this Nebraska basketball team at home is they give you the payoff. They absolutely deliver. They rise to the occasion. This time they had to come from behind to do it, and it looked bleak. It looked hopeless. It looked dead at halftime, but they kept chipping away, and they kept making some plays. And there's so much fun.
I turned to the person next to me, and I said, well, or he told me, he says, we just got to get this to single digits at half. And, of course, that backfired totally. And then started the third quarter or second half, I'm thinking, well, this don't change. I'm leaving, probably be out the door 5 minutes before it's over with. But they just kept chipping away, and then all of a sudden it was in single digits. And about after every basket, Pavelka was on his feet yelling into the microphone, and I've never heard PBA so loud. I thought after Rink hit his 6th in a row against Ohio State that was as loud as I've ever heard, but last night I think topped it.
I mean, that moment, whenever CJ hits the 3, you have Josiah and Sam Hoiberg combining on the steal, and then Sam going the other way.
Yes. The
old spin around, get it up to the rim. Ooh, that place was jumping.
Yeah, oh gosh, yes. Yes, it is. A+ at home in conference. Unfortunately, it's the other end of the deal on the road. If they can just get 1 to maybe 2, I don't think they have to worry about the Big Ten tournament.
No, I think they need to get to 20, and that would be nice. You go steal a couple on the road. They're capable. Let's see how these next 2 shake out. Tom, you take care, bud. We'll tip one soon, all right? Thanks for calling in.
Soon.
All right. Good to hear from Tom, and Tom's right there. He's been a long-time Hail Varsity listener, wears his Hail Varsity gear, and he's at the top of the lower bowl, right? When you come down, and dude is there for warm-ups. I mean, he's all in. Interesting last night. So, Elijah, you had your phone out. You were storming. You had a close-up of Connor Clark in the wild, hands cupped as he's taunting Chuck in Wisconsin. Will, you took a friend last night.
Yeah.
That's an incredible...
Just exposing him on the air.
No, that's totally fine.
I said he took a friend.
No, last time I took a date to a game was when we lost to Samford.
Okay.
Did you get a second date?
I didn't, actually. No. So I kind of redeemed myself last night. It was great.
You did. So you took a friend, but I owe Elijah a shot. We did steak and a beer last night, which translates to a shot. So I've got to take a shot from Elijah. I probably have to pay for the shot, which I'm fine. I picked Nebraska to lose.
I'll pay for it if they have Malort. I'm looking to see if they have Malort here.
Oh, God, don't do that to him.
Is that the black licorice stuff, the Ouzo stuff?
Schmidt, you don't want to find out.
No, here's what I'm going to do. If the shoe was on the other foot, I would buy you the shot of your choice. I would not give you something heinous to drink.
It's Basque liquor flavored with wormwood.
Yeah,
it's very popular in Chicago.
That is my hell coming up here by 6 o'clock.
I don't see the Malort on the wall, but we'll see.
That's okay. Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, Gretna location where we're at till 6. Will, you had to take a wing challenge earlier on the morning hookup.
Yeah.
You had the Inferno wings from Slim Chickens. Hooksy brought it in. A friend of the show says, "Do not do the Malort." No, don't do it.
You fight your dad after taking Malort. It's not good. That's what they say.
Wow, it's one of those family reunions, huh?
Yeah.
Son, you want a shot at the title? You step on out backyard. Yeah. That's pretty good. So, how did you cope today? I posted a picture of poor Harry from Dumb and Dumber on the throne, losing it. Harry, the toilet's broken. What? You've been hammering Tums all day.
I have. Yes.
And are you feeling okay? Or are you going to have to just let us fly this ship while you make a 440 run to the right corner turn of the studio?
I'm feeling a lot better. There was multiple trips to the bathroom today. It helped. It helped, and I'm feeling good now, Schmidt. I'm ready to roll.
Love it. I love it. Well, we'll spend more time on Nebraska basketball. Incredible win, incredible environment. More to break down on that. But it's
more on Will's bathroom breaks as well.
No, we will not get into to detail there because we love our listeners. And if you're in the stream, I have put off the starting five. Forgive me. Brandon, we love you. You're in. Jeff checks in number 2. Crew is in at number 3. Mr. Mike Corrigan. Don't mess with me, pork chop, is his quote, and I'm trying to figure that out. He is in at 4. Andrew in at 5, and then Brennan from the Black Hills checks in at 6. The other Brian finally made it. Good to see you in the stream, Brian. Brandon reminds you to hit that like button, subscribe. And Dion checks in. Dion, good to hear from you, partner. Thanks for checking in. Elijah is also in. Eric dials in and says, yes, props to Elijah Herbel for nailing the 8-point Husker victory. Find Elijah on Twitter at Herbal-Essence. Find Will on the radio at Willie on the radio. Twitter at Schmidt_radio. Give us a follow on the Hail Varsity Radio Twitter feed at H Varsity Radio. And why not follow for updates and specials at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill on social media. Jacob Padilla with us. We're here in Gretna, Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We're powered by Cornhead Lager.
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Thanks for spending time at Hail Varsity Radio Roadshow here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, the Gretna location, 10746 South 204th Avenue, just off the highway. And they are just, I'm staring at these fire pits. It looks like my mother's fire pit. She has one. They have multiple here for those incredible fall or spring or even, comfortable summer evenings. So you're invited out to the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Check out the second location here in Gretna. Happy hour to tell you about Monday through Friday, 3 to 6. And then reverse happy hour Fridays and Saturdays, 9 to 11. That's domestics, that's wells, that's pitchers. So it's incredible. We'll get Jacob Padilla on the horn here shortly and see what he seems to think about Nebraska and the tournament, as it is impressive. You're in a state of euphoria, disbelief, and just flat-out amazement with that comeback. Not just that, okay, you beat Wisconsin at home. We kind of thought you needed to do that from a resume standpoint, but how you went about doing it. Kisei was off. We'll get into a bit of his struggles in a little bit, but the bottom line is Fred keeps pushing the buttons. The team's responded. He switched how he practiced. That was key. And Bo Reed, we got to give a shout out to Bo Reed, Husker Hall of Famer, with us last night. He joined us to start off hour 2. And Bo talked about physicality. Bo also talked about C.J. Wilcher. Homeboy was 2 for 2 last night with his predictions and his prognostications. So pretty incredible evening last night. You're still smiling about it a day later. You heard Tom, a longtime Nebraska basketball season ticket holder, he needed muscle relaxers to kind of calm and come down. We didn't ask him if those were prescribed or just imported from Colorado.
An unimportant question.
We're not judging. We're not judging.
We'll just assume the best. While we await Jacob here, we do have a couple questions. And Brandon, first asking the question. First off, he compliments the beard. Thank you, Brandon. It doesn't look great, but I try my best. Chris also chiming in on Twitter. He asks,
it's not me,
for a bowling update. And I have the bowling update for you. Elijah Herbel and his team still remains in first place in the city bowling tournament. It should be noted, still one night of bowling left to go. 2 years ago, we were in first up until Friday night. We were overtaken by 2 teams. So we're not out of the woods just yet, but we still hold on to our first place spot in the city bowling tournament, and we'll have that update for you either tomorrow morning on the Saturday morning show or Monday. Whether or not we get it done, we get the win. But feeling really, really good. It's a great team performance. Have a shout out all the guys, Cody, Michael, my dad, my brother. We really put in a huge effort this week, just like the Huskers, and we'll see if we get the payoff at the end of the day. I will go on a complete victory lap on Twitter should we get first place, just to make sure everyone in Lincoln knows.
You do it, man. You absolutely victory lap that son of a gun and make it happen. with the championship. Nebraska Grandpa checks in. Let's start a new starting five by distance from Lincoln. I'm checking in from Chattanooga, Tennessee. That's about 900 miles. Eric says too many feelings for him to verbalize with last night's win. Eric said 1,100 miles, just for good note. We have listeners in Florida. We have listeners in the Philippines. We have listeners in China. I mean, it's a vast network. I love it. I was texting with Brandon Vogel last night at halftime. We were like, this is not going well. This is kind of going sideways for Nebraska. And as a former owner of Under Armour shoes, he's like, yeah, but at least Wisconsin still has to wear Under Armour. I mean, so there was that. So I want to get back to this resume and where Nebraska's at. And the bracketology from ESPN that is out has Nebraska now at a 10 seed. It seems like they've jumped in the win from first four in, i.e. Dayton, to you're safe and you're playing as either a 10 or an 11 seed. We'll know more from the weekend. Guys, I think what's important is you've wowed the committee with your home wins. Don't play awful or look awful. You don't have to win every road game that's still on your schedule, but don't play awful or look awful with your remaining road games. I mean, Northwestern's not in any bubble danger. They have a win over Purdue. They have a win over Michigan State. And they went to overtime and almost beat Purdue. They're not in any danger because from an eye test standpoint, they've looked pretty good. I don't have their strength of schedule, but, I mean, Nebraska and Northwestern are right there. How do you come back against Illinois? Big question. How do you come back against Northwestern on the road, and then you get to come back home for Michigan, and you can't screw that up. But the anatomy of this comeback is absolutely spectacular because you had the different players. You mentioned Elijah that played so well, that stepped up. And let's talk about Juwan Gary and his energy, his minutes, and how Bryce shook off some of those early turnovers or the late turnovers in that first half. And he came out and was really calm, and he made some plays. He made some shots, but he settled in. This whole team settled in, and they didn't, thanks to Fred's button pushing and verbalization, got him going. And credit Fred Hoiberg for the motivation and the calmness and just getting his team prepared. And he's always got a sound game plan, and he just needs that insane effort on the defensive end from his team consistently, and that's what he's still trying to get to carry over on the road.
Well, the question to me kind of becomes moving forward, do you tinker with that starting lineup at all? With the energy that Sam Hoiberg brings off the bench, would he be a valuable addition to a starting lineup? Or maybe even more importantly, C.J. Wilcher, with the points he's been pouring in Big Ten season. Hasn't missed a free throw yet. He's shooting almost 50% from the field from three-point land in Big Ten play, and he's shooting over 50% overall. I think almost 60% overall during Big Ten play. He has been a guy that you can rely upon time and time again through the Big Ten slate. Is that a guy that you insert into the starting lineup, try to get some more minutes out of? Is Casey a guy with his recent struggles, especially on the defensive end? Do you move him to the bench? I mean, I know he's a fan favorite, and you really can't replicate his level of shooting in that starting lineup. But would he be more valuable coming off of the bench and providing a scoring option? I think Fred Hoiberg's got some decisions to make, but as we kind of talked about yesterday, that win yesterday really opens up your margin for error in the Big Ten season. Obviously, you can't stumble through the finish line. You're going to have some problems, but if you just win your home games from here on out, you guarantee yourself a 500 record in conference play, and that's kind of been a number we've talked about through much of the Big Ten slate. If you can get to 500 in Big Ten play, you have a pretty good shot of making the tourney, especially with a win or two in the Big Ten tournament. They're still on pace for that. Now, I think that kind of becomes Fred's question moving forward, is do you tinker with your lineup and try to get the best result, or, I mean, you have a team that's already been doing well and winning its home games. That's all you really have to do from here on out. You'd like some more, but do you stick with the status quo and ensure yourself that you have a lineup everyone knows their role and is going to continue to get some home wins? Because I think realistically you should be able to win the 4 remaining home games you have left. That gets you to 10 conference wins, and that gets you in a pretty good spot in the Big Ten tournament. I think Fred's got some questions moving forward, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some tinkering with that starting lineup over the next 2 days, or 2 games, I should say.
Here's what I think, and we'll jump in if you want as well. I think if you don't come out and it looks like Rutgers, and it looks like second half against Minnesota, and it looks like just how sideways it went against Maryland, it's no joke that matchups are very real, right? And you match up better against some teams than others. And there's some teams in the Big Ten Nebraska is inherently tougher than, although we don't think they're as tough a basketball team as they need to be. They got tough for the second half. Can they get tough for 2 halves on the road? And I look at this Nebraska team, and if it's another just beat down against a good team, I don't think you have a question. I think you got to tweak it a little bit. And if defense and rebounding with a dash of wow from a shooting standpoint is what's going to get it for you, so be it. I don't know, and you can't be concerned with that, but I don't know from a personality standpoint and a body language and a confidence situation, you need Tominaga to get back. You need Kisei to look like he looked the end of the season last year. He's going the other way right now. Teams have figured him out. They've adjusted to him. And he might either be in his own head right now, just, of course, judging from afar. I don't think he looked super happy on the bench.
No, his body language left a lot to be desired last night.
Was that because he wasn't in, or was that because he was sulking because of his performance? Don't know. So, yeah, I mean, I have no issue with Sam Hoiberg going in there to be your spark. Would you rather spark early and then sustain, pray that happens, or keep what you got going? Same with Wilcher. I mean, Wilcher and Sam are both options for Tominaga right now, and that sounds insane to say right now. And how would he handle coming off the bench? I mean, because sometimes Tominaga, if he's not hitting his shots, he is taking some bad shots. And they took bad shots in the first half. They took tough shots. There's different characters trying to make something happen to get right on offense. And it's what, quite frankly, continued to bury him. It is just some bad shots. I mean, it was 21-8, for God's sake, 23-8 at one point. So I think you look at it against Northwestern, absolutely. But Kisei kind of killed Northwestern, too. So I think you look at it, it really depends on how, again, they play and they look coming into to this Illinois matchup on Sunday. I'm not above it. But do you go the wrong way if you do make a twist? Do you overthink? Or do you just ride out what's going on? Is the roles guys have right now with 2 sparks off the bench and Sam and Wilcher the route you keep going?
Well, I just think the problem and the question is with Kisei in particular. I think this is less about Wilcher and Hoiberg and more about Kisei. Right now, he's a guy that, or I guess throughout his whole career, has been a guy that you're willing to trade 3 for 2 on, if you get what I'm saying. The offensive explosiveness that he brings is worth the negative that he brings in the defensive end, but if he's not knocking down shots, instead of trading 3 for 2, you're trading 0 for 2, and it's a bad look at that. So I think it's less about Wilcher and Hoiberg and more about, dare I say, getting Kisei off the floor at times, because that's what you needed last night. You needed to get Kisei off the floor, and you hope that he plays better because of, we've all seen the explosiveness that he provides offensively, but that's a guy that is getting you 1 for 7 from the field and really hurting your defensive effort. Not a playable guy.
No, and that's, if he ain't going to give you 15 and emotion and momentum with his shot making, then he can watch, because he is a liability defensively. As hard as he's worked on it, he's a liability defensively, he's a liability rebounding. And that's not how you're going to win games on the road. More thoughts. We'll talk a little college football and a fine levied by the Big Ten. We'll tell you on who. That's on the way with Hail Varsity.
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Thanks for hanging out. It's Hail Varsity Radio Road Show here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in Gretna. We invite you out if you're out to high school basketball this evening in the Gretna region. Come on by. Great food and drink specials, happy hour till 6. Get one of their specialty signature pizzas. You can build your own as well. I mean, that's awesome. The Bang Bang sauce, Boom Boom sauce. We call it Bang Bang sauce, but it makes you smile. That's what I'm telling you. It is just glorious.
And you can get a pretty good deal on a personal pizza from 4 to 6. We'll let you know about that in just a second.
Yes, Elijah's eyeing the personal pizza. We are here just off of South 204th Avenue in Gretna here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Second location, just fabulous. Come see us here. Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel, Will Wilson. Pete has been hanging on. Pete, we missed you last segment. Thanks for your patience. Go for it.
How you doing?
We're good, man. What do you know?
Well, I don't know too much about basketball, but it seems to me, I watched most of that game last night. The first half I had to turn the channel because that was pathetic. But it sure looks to me like Gary is kind of the leader of that team, and when he's on the court, the defense plays better and the whole team plays with more energy. And the second point was, I think the crowd really had a big impact on that win last night. I think the crowd was fantastic.
Pete, you are right. The crowd would not let Nebraska go away, and they kept raging. And it wasn't they got it under 10. They got it. Pete, thanks for the call. They got it under 5. It was once they got it under 15. I mean, the crowd grew. It was that 6th man, that 12th man. And we can kind of get into this with Doleman here in the second hour. From an atmosphere standpoint, like your flashbulb moments as a Nebraska fan, this was an entire second half of full throat. Come on, fellas, this is huge. You gotta find a way, and they did to their credit. But Nebraska, there's been moments, there's been games, there's been opponents that come in that just rub you wrong as a Nebraska fan or just a sports fan in general, and you want to just stomp on them.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get into the Chucky Hepburn discussion here?
We'll get into Chucky in a little bit, but we'll dive into that here shortly. More comments in the stream, Hail Varsity YouTube, where you can watch the show along with the Hail Varsity Radio Twitter feed. So Crew checks in, says, I need a wife. Any advice, fellas?
I wish. Nope. Let me know if you find anything, please.
On a serious note, I've got a really wonderful-looking wife, and that sounds super shallow, so give me a second.
Sick.
But her personality is as screwed up as mine, so that's
not where I thought you were going.
No, her personality is as screwed up as mine. It's okay. And she makes me laugh. So that's what I go for. Someone that can stand being... Now, she threatens my life twice a night because I snore too loud. But that's just her love. Brian...
I'm reading through some of these comments. I don't know what this chat is on today.
Snitley checked in, and I think it comes back to an earlier comment from Brandon that I don't know that we can get onto the air with. But what's that shot you wanted to give me?
Malort.
Yeah, Malort. Brian Snitley, part of the Boulder Peace Treaty, says, yes, the Chicago special. Cutter says, take the 3 wise men. You will be all the wiser, I hear. That's Jose, that's Jack, and that's Jim, if memory serves. Cam, appreciate you. Thanks for setting this up. Cam at Hurrdat Sports. Shout out to him. Okay. We have
are you getting into the absolutely unhinged comments we've had in here about things you can shave that are not your face?
No, I have not gotten into any landscaping. Tuck
they got fully into the landscaping in the stream chat today.
We're not going to go there.
No, we're not.
Tuck, thanks for keeping it with football and basketball and all that good stuff. Brennan is in Pool League. And the Huskers won, so that's a win. Menu specials. Pizza is done right here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Check some of their pizzas out. I like the 3 Angry Pigs. Oui. I mean, that is all sorts of goodness. Ham, bacon, pulled pork, sausage. That would be my vote. the combos money. It's spicy sausage, red pepper, pepperoni, mushroom, black olive. Yes on the black olive. How's that sounding, Will, with your tummy?
I give it about a 5. I'm not ready for that, I don't think.
Okay.
How about the sweet heat then?
Yes.
And you've already dealt with the heat today. I'm not sure if you dealt with the sweet. The sweet heat, sweet chili sauce, ham, pineapple, red onion, pepperoni, cream cheese, and jalapeno.
Yeah, you would be a pineapple pizza guy.
I am.
Dude, this is the place you'll find the pizza with pineapple, and it'll be all okay.
Okay. Well, how about this? 3 to 6. It's happy hour here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. That's every Monday through Friday. You can come and get a one-topping pizza, 8 inches, personal pizza, for just $6. How about that? You could also get yourself
a side of Bang Bang sauce with it.
For $3, happy hour, well liquors, and all your domestic drafts, along with a basket of fries for, again, $3, tater tots, $3, chips and queso, $3, or just, you know what? You just want to stick to the beer, $2 off all draft beers, $14 pitchers. I love me a good pitcher. $17 buckets. And if 3 to 6 doesn't work for you, how about the reverse happy hour?
9 to 11, Friday and Saturdays.
That's the best idea. Wow. I love that.
I love it. Tuck says you need to fertilize that thing. He's referring
to define that thing?
Your beard. I think is what he's saying. We have rambled on, and we did nothing to keep time for Kent Pavelka and Jake Milheisen. So we'll hear Kent's soundtrack to last night's comeback at the 50 spot. That's on the way. Hour 2, another hour for you to come see us here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in Gretna. And Bill Doleman with us. Jacob Padilla has moved to 525, so we'll check in with him. The fine. Let's talk about the fine. The Big Ten has levied a fine against Chris Collins, $5,000. The long and short, he lost his marbles, went onto the court, got in the face of an official, hugged Matt Painter, hugged Purdue stud Zach Edey, and then kind of said, let's raise the roof as he was leaving to jeers by the Northwestern student section.
The Purdue student section.
Thank you, Purdue student section. If you find a coach $5,000 for a 48-8 free throw disparity, can we find the officials when they absolutely whiff on brutal calls? Who's your buddy last night? High stepping?
Old Jeffrey.
High knees.
Yeah. High knees, baby.
High knees Jeffrey's making a call from half court because he wanted to hear his whistle work.
Well, the one thing we didn't mention from that game last night, maybe we don't want to talk about it in a win, despite all the wrong calls, maybe the best performance in officiating we've seen all season in the Big Ten.
I'm kidding. Well, they made up. It was.
I think that speaks to officiating in the Big Ten, though.
It was horrible quality. They had fewer bad calls, but there were still 3 brutal calls.
I didn't really quite understand their definition of verticality throughout much of the night.
No.
They were pretty inconsistent there. All around, not a great performance from the refs, but still the best we've seen all year.
I mean, and Nebraska got away with a couple of phantom whistles. But for the most part, if there was any traffic in the paint, I mean, homeboy for Wisconsin was hooking people like he's Chris Webber, hooking them in the paint, going up, and Nebraska was getting whistled. We'll wind down hour 1. Hail Varsity Radio, road show here, Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, Gretna. We're powered by Cornhead Lager.
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you one final time this hour. Hail Varsity Road Show here from the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in Gretna, just off 204th Avenue. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, Connor Clark is missing because we have Will Wilson in studio. Caught myself there. Dion asks a very important question we cannot answer, nor...
You finally reached the part of the stream that I was referring to. Yeah,
the stream has gone off the rails about grooming. Putting it nicely. Let's talk volleyball because you've got the Supernovas in action tomorrow. Get on down to CHI, 6 p.m. against San Diego as the world-class talent, family, friends, and fun and incredible volleyball. Be a part of the Supernovas this season, supernovas.com, and your chance to secure single match or season tickets and go see them against San Diego. Should be awesome. And you've got the who's who. We're talking Olympic champions. You have NCAA champions, All-Americans. The talent is paramount when it comes to Supernovas, their opponents, and your chance to log on, supernovas.com.
And do you know why they named the city of San Diego? It's German.
No.
It's an Anchorman quote. I can't get into it.
It's
German.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
San Diego.
Yes, San Diego. Right. It's him and what was what's her name's character? Corningstone, Veronica Corningstone. They were sitting
in the car.
The car, right? They were parked and soak it in. Yeah. Good old Ron. Moonbot won $500 last night on Nebraska. Got him in a pick'em. Moonbot, I wish I was as smart as you for many things.
Moonbot was sweating at halftime, I guarantee it.
Moonbot swore off basketball in that first half. But the second half is when Nebraska came around. Let's do a little soundtrack action. Kent Pavelka, Jake Milheisen, you hear him on our affiliate 590, your Husker home in Omaha. And Kent brought it home.
We might be out of time.
No, we got time. Yes, no, maybe. No, son of a... I'm sorry. Gosh, Marn. Man, I had to edit myself there. Forgive me. Next hour, I promise, we'll get in Kent. We'll get in Jake. And it was fantastic. It was big time. So if we're spinning the wheel for appetizers, Elijah.
Malort.
He's wanting to give me some non-sipping whiskey. I got to go with the Boom Boom Shrimp and the Bang Bang sauce.
Yep.
Got the corn nuggets, the onion rings, the fried green beans. The nachos here are money. Mm-hmm. They're incredible.
The wings are
Quesadillas.
great. The wings are so good.
Yeah. The wings won't hurt you, Will.
Thank you. Yeah.
Will crushed six Inferno wings as part of a wager. So you're going to make me hurt because Will had to hurt.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm the only one that's getting out of today unscathed.
Schmidt, you could do something about that, though.
No, I know. We gotta figure out the forecast is coming up. 5:40. Plenty of college basketball to pick 'em. Bill Doleman will kick off next hour, and Jacob Padilla, his thoughts on Huskers and of course the high school schedule tonight. Gretna in town against Southwest should be a good one. Braden Frager making his way up to Gretna, and you're invited out here as we're in Gretna tonight. Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, amazing patio, great eating area, and TVs that you won't miss any action. Just off of 204th Avenue. Hail Varsity continues. We're powered by Cornhead Lager.
The voice of Husker Nation is on the air. This is Hail Varsity Radio. Insight, opinion, expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with the show at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back with you, Tower 2. It's Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager on the road here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, the Gretna location, the South 204th Avenue location. You're turning in just off Highway 6 on your way to Gretna Southwest to see some high school hoops tonight. A few Silverhawks back in the corner, which is pretty awesome. We welcome in the pride of Fairbury, NBC Sports. The professor is Bill Doleman in his office. Still smiling about Nebraska basketball's win, comeback, one for the ages. Will Wilson in studio. Elijah Herbel to my left. He has not bought me that shot I owe him yet.
Friday forecast.
Friday forecast time is when it's coming. Billy D, how we doing? Good to spend time with you. Thanks for jumping on with us.
Well, thanks for the invitation to come up and join you in Gretna today. We were together, but never got the invite. So yeah, I went back to work. But nevertheless,
next time. Next time.
You know,
we didn't want you getting fired. You know.
Yeah, well, that might happen anyway. But, yeah.
Bill, we will trank dart you and drag you up here. I think you'll like the fire pits
Free
are
food
just
that you
awesome.
give me?
Yeah, no, it's pretty solid. They've got the Bang Bang sauce that we rave about. The pizza's incredible. The wings are to die for. Will Wilson had to hammer 6 Inferno wings earlier today. He's been crushing Tums all day, and he is he's hunkered down.
I heard that, and I was really pleased that I did not hear the full story in detail. So I think I'm good with the knowledge that I have, and I don't need much more than that.
There's still time. I could give it to you.
And eerily,
you can save that for the director's cut.
I will say, for those not watching on the stream, you might not know this. The people on the stream maybe not have noticed. Will is keeping the door to the studio open, which I assume is for quick access to the bathroom.
Or just so he doesn't gas himself.
No, it's hot in here. It's hot in here.
Yeah, that's what we're going to stick with. The 4 or 5 sales folks have walked by and crawled away. But ironically, Will's from noon to 2 looked a lot like Nebraska's 7:30 to 8:30 last night.
Spot on.
Holding on for dear life, Bill.
And now he looks like Husker fans during that overtime, fully clinched.
It's a little nervous energy. Bill, what did you see last night? And from an atmosphere standpoint, that's up there. I mean, we're talking the will to win, yes, by the team, but so many in that PBA audience last night wouldn't let this team go goodnight.
Well, I did hear that there were some fans, and perhaps a sizable sample of the fans, who had enough at halftime. And so, you learned your lesson. You never know what's going to happen in sports, and that's the great thing about it. I tell my students that all the time. You go to a movie or to a play, you pretty much know how it's going to end when you get there. With sports, you don't know the drama that's going to unfold and what ending you might have a chance to see and remember for a lifetime. And as much as we refer to No Sit Sunday, Wisconsin 2014, or the some of the great games that have been played at Memorial Stadium, big games against an Oklahoma or a Colorado or a Miami or whatever, and you can have those memorable moments because the atmosphere was spectacular. There was a big win. What the word that comes to mind to me in watching last night and how it unfolded and how it ended, the atmosphere was just raw. And I mentioned that on the Average Joe Sports Show podcast that we did earlier today. There was no plan for what happened. People went to the game last night hoping that they would see Nebraska play well, and they know that this team has played well at home, and that was the chance that they needed. Of all things, the home court advantage to knock off Wisconsin. And then it didn't start off very well at all. And I'm sure there were a lot of people who not only left, but turned off their TVs and went to bed and called it good, and were surprised when they woke up. And there were probably a lot of people who may have gone across the street into the Haymarket and started watching the end of the game at a watering hole and saw what was happening on TV, wishing they could get back in. A lot of people wish they could have made a U-turn at Dodger Stadium when Kirk Gibson hit his home run against the Oakland A's back in 1988, and you famously see brake lights come on as they're driving away in the distance because they missed it. It was just raw last night, and what happened the last 15 minutes of regulation and in overtime, the atmosphere, the arena, the emotion, the excitement, the frenzy of the fans was completely unscripted, and that's what made last night so special and what will make that one of the most memorable nights in Nebraska basketball history, regardless of what this team does the rest of the season, which is going to be in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Bill, you mentioned the rest of the season. That's kind of where I was going next. How does Nebraska bottle up that second half and take it on the road based on everything we've seen this year? Do you just have to accept the fact that this team is different on the road than they are at home? I mean, Fred Hoiberg talked about crumpling up the sports science plan for his players and throwing it in the trash and saying we're going to build a physical team this week through practice. Now, I think you kind of saw that in the second half, that team's grittiness to not go away. Do you see that traveling and going on the road, or is this team just what they are at this point on the road? What's your take on that side of things? Can they get better? Can they improve? Is it too late?
That's the big mystery with this team, right? You asked me last week if Maryland was a must-win, and I said no. I don't think it was a must-win game. And if Nebraska beats Wisconsin, Nebraska is definitely in the NCAA tournament. But what last weekend against Maryland was it was a must-not-lose ugly game. And what did they do? They lost ugly, and they could not afford to do that. Losing 87-82 or 87-77, okay, that's understandable. But they played horribly at Maryland, and they carried that over to the first half of the game against Wisconsin last night. But then they turned around, and they found that toughness and that grittiness. Do I expect them to win at Illinois? No, but hopefully they take with them the belief in what they can achieve when they play the way they did in the second half. They've got to believe in their grittiness, which is not an analytics. You cannot, put into a computer and spit out grittiness. You can't spit out heart. You can't spit out toughness. You can't spit out want to. And that's why I hate analytics about as much as I hate recruiting. But, Fred Hoiberg, it looked like in the first half he made a mistake. They're tired. They should have followed the scientific load. Okay, what does that mean? But you can't. The analytics could not tell you what kind of lift they were going to get if Juwan Gary comes into the game, and he looked a little tentative his first couple of times down the floor, but after a while he got into the flow of the game, and he changed the physicality, and he changed the tenacity, and then you got the Catholic League MVP Sam Hoiberg getting out there and doing what he does. You can't put that into a computer and to say that this is what's going to happen. And their tenacity and their want to and their will and their grittiness, it was on display last night. And this is a night in which Keisei Tominaga had another bad night. Your best shooter, one of the best shooters in college basketball, your leading scorer has been absent, really, the last 3 games. I mean, what did he have last night? He's gone 5-7-2 the last 3 games. He's played 14, 21, and 19 minutes, barely over half in one game. And he sat, and he was on the floor at the end of regulation, didn't get a shot off. But Nebraska did all of that with their leading scorer out of the game. So can they take that on the road? I don't know. I think they'll beat Northwestern, because I think Northwestern has just been gut punched so many times this season. And with what happened to them against Purdue, that's going to be a tough one for them to get up off the mat. And, I think that team has been beaten up a little bit, and Nebraska has a chance to steal one.
Bill Doleman's with us, Hail Varsity Radio Roadshow here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in Gretna. Our old buddy Jabba Chamberlain and some other Southwest parents have made their way here in front of Gretna and Southwest. That tip-off around 7:30. So, Bill, we were toying with the idea, I sound like Griswold's boss here, do you put Tominaga on the bench in favor of... No?
What? Look, he's either going to get back into his groove, or it's just going to be the way it is. And Hoiberg didn't force it last night. He really hasn't forced it the last 3 games. He's sensing that it's not working. So Keisei, we all love you. And we know you can be a game changer. But if you're going to be a game changer, we need to see you do it in the first half, because we can't afford to let you find yourself when we're trying to find ourselves a victory. And so credit Fred Hoiberg for understanding where his best shooter is at this moment, and maybe the best place for him is on the bench. And if you're C.J. Wilcher, who right now is this team's MVP, it doesn't matter if you're starting. What should matter is where you're finishing. And at the end of the games, he's their most important. Mike Mast is their most important. Juwan Gary is their most important. Collectively, those are the guys who need to be there at the finish, right? So if Tominaga, if Wilcher is best in the role that he is in, and right now he's the best 6th man in the Big Ten, let him come off the bench and play 30 minutes. And if Keisei comes out and he hits some big shots and he gets into a rhythm, all right, then he's got his 25 to 30 minutes perhaps. But when he missed that shot at 27-17, to cut it to 27-20. He had that three-pointer rim out. His game was over, right? His shot was not going to fall. But somebody else came in and stepped up. And then Mast, found his – he didn't have the Ohio State game, but he's confident in that three-point shot. And if he goes 3 for 7, 3 for 8, that's a big deal for Nebraska. So I don't think you mess with the lineup. I think you just let them play their roles, and who's playing the best at the end of the game, that's who you want on the floor. Who's finishing the game, not who's starting.
Bill, one thing with this team is they are truly a live by the three, die by the three type of team. If the three's falling, the offense is clicking. You saw it, the difference between the first half and the second half last night with what that offense just looked like whenever the three was falling versus when it wasn't. That's what this team is at this point. Do you think that's an indictment of this team, or is that just the way basketball is now?
That's an indictment of basketball.
Okay.
I'm in the Popovich camp, right? I mean, the three-point shot, as exciting as it can be, it's ruined the game. That's all people look for is the three. So of course they're going to live and die by the three. You got to have the person who can master the art of the 17-footer. Right? It may not be sexy, but 2 from 17 is better from 0 from 27. Right? And if you got to settle for the 2, and to credit Tominaga, there are times when that three-point shot's not falling, and he moves very well without the ball and gets an open shot. He's got that little floater that can be, kind of deadly until he gets into a rhythm, and then he might hit 4 or 5 shots from behind the arc. But to me, the three-point shot is, it's an indictment of basketball. You get away from it, you're going to have a lot better basketball players. You're going to have a lot better basketball games instead of everybody trying to hit the big home run. Now it's not enough to hit a 3. It's enough to hit a 3 from as far back as you possibly can.
Tell you what, it's made youth basketball absolutely unwatchable, but I'll leave it at that. Sometimes it can make it more fun, though, I tell you what, whenever little Jimmy steps into a 40-footer.
Look, when you took the dunk away, let's go way back in time, boys and girls. When you took the dunk away after Lou Alcindor's career at UCLA, and you made big men, have to have touch around the basket from 6 inches to 6 feet, and the sky hook, Kareem developed that more in the NBA, but Bill Walton was one that you would see him do these little drop-ins, around the basket. Way back in the day. But when you took the dunk away from big men and they had to develop shots and touches, big men were a lot better. And now it's all just looking for the dunk.
Bill, a moment of silence.
Get off my lawn.
Without the silence for Carl Weathers, a.k.a. Chubbs, a.k.a. Apollo Creed. And I forget his character name in Predator, but I love that movie. 76, this guy could go play a half of football, he looked like. I mean, I know he was graying, but, man, that sucks.
Yeah, that's a generational passing, isn't it? Many people, and they probably don't realize until a day like this.
He played in the NFL.
How long Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed, has been in your life, And it's sad. But, you got to love a life well lived and the memories that a guy like that leaves. And to be able to have an iconic character like Apollo Creed or Chubbs, that's a pretty good career. That's a pretty good life. So, yeah, that's sad for, Rocky is my favorite movie. And what a great character. And then to play that part in Happy Gilmore, that's a great career. So,
Pride of Fairbury. NBC Sports, Bill Doleman, at Bill Doleman on Twitter is where you follow him.
Oh, Bill, before we get out of here, your reaction, 30 seconds, to the steroid Olympics, which may be coming in 2025.
Are you hiring?
It's just been
rumored. He wants to do the Olympics. but we would have...
I mean, do you want to be an athlete? We can juice you.
We would have some vicious fencing.
That sounds like a Monty Python skit or something,
Bill, we'll abduct you for a little Illinois-Nebraska Sunday, all right?
All right, boys. See you later.
There he is, Pride of Fairbury, Bill Doleman. Appreciate him. We're here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in Gretna. Jacob Padilla next.
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Thanks for spending time at Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager, here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in Gretna, just off of 204th Avenue. You're on your way to the Gretna game tonight. Swing on by for a slice of pie, cold beer, to watch me get payback for picking against Nebraska from one Elijah Herbel. Will Wilson has already paid his taxes and then some with the Hot Ones Challenge. With those Inferno wings, there are great wings here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. There's great pizza. There's incredible wraps. There is the Bang Bang sauce. It is house made. I don't know what's in it. I just know that it tastes amazing on fries, on the Boom Boom shrimp. And, there's fellas up at the bar here watching a little bit of a preview. Houston and Kansas. There's some cold beer. Man, it's a good time. We say hi to Jacob Padilla with Hail Varsity and Hurrdat Sports. Talk a little Big Red basketball in the high school scene. Creighton in action as well. Jacob, thanks for making time tonight. Good to spend a few minutes. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry about earlier, guys. Thanks for kind of juggling things around for me.
No, you're good. No worries. Appreciate your time and insight as always. And Jacob, you've seen a lot of Nebraska basketball. We've spent most of the show on Nebraska's improbable comeback. But how do you do the math on this? One half to another, and you're arguably your best showman in Tominaga was shut down. What did you think about last night? What do you think this does long term for Nebraska? Does this give them a little bit more stability come Selection Sunday?
Yeah, I haven't gotten all the way through my kind of tight rewatch, but just kind of from what I've seen, I think a lot of it comes down to shot making. Like even at the start of the first half, when Wisconsin opened it back out to 18, Nebraska had 3 wide open threes kind of circle the rim and pop out. They just weren't making shots. I thought the offense was fine to start the game, in terms of process, and they got decent looks. They just didn't make it. Guys were missing shots that they normally make. Meanwhile, Wisconsin was making everything, and about the only stops Nebraska got were on turnovers because they were struggling to defensive rebounds even when Wisconsin did miss. And that's the thing about Nebraska's defense is it's kind of the purpose is chaos. That's what they're trying to create. And sometimes that chaos is for you, where you get out of position, you're chasing guys off the line and taking yourself out of the play. You're getting mismatches on the glass, and having it makes it tough to rebound, even if you do force a miss. And there are other times when the guys are kind of on point and on a string, and they're flying around and getting to the spots they need to, and the other team doesn't handle it well. In the second half, Wisconsin started to turn the ball over, and it really was the defense that won Nebraska this game, because Wisconsin's been a very good offensive team this season. One of the best in the country, actually. And that second half and into overtime, they just completely shut them down.
It's Jacob Padilla with us here on Hail Varsity Radio. And Jacob, I hope you know what I mean whenever I ask this question. When you look at that second half performance last night, you know basketball a hell of a lot more than I do, so I think you're the authority on this. Did Nebraska win that game, or did Wisconsin lose that game?
Yeah, it's always a bit of both. Again, Wisconsin, they kind of got out of sorts, but Nebraska did that to them. Wisconsin just didn't handle it well. Nebraska made some big plays, big hustle plays. Defensively, they were kind of a little bit tighter than they were in the first half. I said that they're trying to get you sped up and make things tough for you, and they did a better job of that in the second half. And then Wisconsin didn't handle it well, and that's a credit to Nebraska, and it's a detriment for Wisconsin. We saw Nebraska's done the same thing at times this year, where they just haven't responded to adversity well. So the answer is always a little bit of both, but I think you give credit to Nebraska for just the turnaround and the fact that they did get down so big multiple times, and they didn't quit. They found a way to kind of turn things around. And, again, some of it did just come down to shot making. Rink Mass, 2 for 8 from 3 in the game, but hit 2 huge ones. He didn't have a great shooting game, but he came up in the clutch when they really needed it. The ones he hit were massive, and then C.J. Wilser continued his hot streak, scored 16 in the second half there. to kind of key the comeback. So, I think you have to give credit to Nebraska because it is easy. And we've seen them do it on the road. When things go poorly, they kind of fold. And they for whatever reason, when they've got the home crowd behind them, they find a way to kind of dig a little bit deeper there and get back into it.
Jacob Padilla is with us from Hail Varsity and Hurrdat Sports at Jacob Padilla _ Nebraska, the improbable last night against number 6 Wisconsin, as it was just up for grabs at PBA. It was incredible. Atmosphere makes all the difference, and the fans really willed that to happen, along with the team kind of finding their footing. Jacob, I want to get your take on, what's next for Nebraska. We have batted around. Do you change the lineup at all, possibly with CJ or Sam? Do you think this is a long-term issue with Tominaga? What's your take moving into Illinois?
I think he's in a little bit of a slump right now, and they keep doing what they are doing, because right before that slump, he averaged about 18 a game on 50, 44, 100 shooting splits in the 6 games before the last 3 where he struggled. Every player is going to have ups and downs, and I don't think you need to overreact and change anything dramatically. I think Koiberg's handled it well. You roll him out there, see if he can kind of get himself out of it, and if he's continuing to struggle, then you give those minutes to other guys as the game goes on. And I think before long we'll see Tominaga kind of get back to what he had been doing before. He's going to have a big one here down the stretch that'll help him win a game. So I don't think you overreact. We're deep in the season now. This team is kind of what it is, and they've kind of settled into, obviously they've had the 4 spot has kind of been moving around a little bit with the Juwan Gary situation and Josiah Alec in and out of the starting lineup, but those 2 guys have made it work pretty well, and they bring some similar things to the table, just in terms of toughness and hustle. So I don't think you'd change anything dramatically. Casey will be back, and in the meantime, it's good that you've got someone like CJ that's playing as well as he is right now to pick up the slack.
Jacob, when you look at last night's game, does it impact what Nebraska needs to do on the road for the remainder of this season? We're kind of in agreement here that getting to 500 in conference play puts you in a pretty good spot heading into the Big Ten tournament, and you can get to 500 in conference play if you just take care of business at home from here on out. Does it change to you the fact that Nebraska needs to perform better on the road here if they want to make the NCAA tournament? Did last night change anything in that regard?
So if they had lost that one, they would have had to make up for it on the road. Like if they went out at home, lose out on the road, that'll still kind of, I think the committee's going to hold that against them, just in terms of the overall road record. If you go an entire season with 1 road win the entire year, like that's, and you stack it up against some other things, that's something that's going to go against them, just like the 2 top 10 wins at home will go in their favor. So if they can steal at least 1, I mean, if you get 2 of these down the stretch, then you're feeling great. You can get at least 1 more, so that the road record doesn't stand out quite as much. I think that would go a long way here, because if they had lost that one to Wisconsin, which would have been a bad loss, obviously it was a top 10 team coming in, but you would have had to make it up on the road to get back to that 500 mark. And tournament doesn't look at your record in the conference, but 10 Big Ten wins is still a good thing to have there. So I think it puts Nebraska in position to be in good shape without anything crazy happening. If they take care of business at home, you steal 1 on the road, then you'll feel pretty good. You lose out on the road, you went out at home, then you're still going to, I mean, the conversation is going to happen there. But that Wisconsin win to go with the Purdue win, I think, will be a nice little trump card there in their favor.
Jacob, what is on your schedule tonight and this weekend from a hoops perspective? What are you eyeing from a high school standpoint? I know you have Creighton in action as well.
Yeah, so I'll be at CHI Center watching Creighton at Butler. So I won't be out at any games tonight, but it is a big night. We've got 2 Metro Holiday Tournament rematches in town tonight with Gretna hosting Central, as you mentioned, and then Prep and Westside is going at it again tonight as well. So 2 big ones there in Class A, and then a big one in C1 as well, where DC West is going to Ashland Greenwood, 2 top 10 teams there. So pretty good night. Saturday, not as many good matchups, but Lincoln Southeast is going to Bellevue West tomorrow night. I think I'll try to get over for that one because I haven't seen Southeast play just yet this season.
Jacob, I've said it before a decent amount. I think every single season it tends to be true. The high school basketball season is really a story of pre-holiday tournament and post-holiday tournament. And I'm not saying that teams that are good pre-holiday tournament are going to be bad post-holiday tournament, but you always seem to have a couple, 1 or 2, that they seem to hit their stride following that holiday tournament. You get into January and into February, and it seems like a whole new team. Which teams do you think kind of fit that bill this year? Are there any?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's completely turned things around. I think what we have seen is, I think the conversation going into the holiday tournament is, especially in Class A, it's, you got any 6, 7 teams feel like they could win this thing. And kind of as the season has gone on, it's felt like WS and Millard North have kind of separated themselves from the pack, just with their recent results and kind of where they stand now. If there's one team that can, that's kind of hanging in there, that next year it's Central right now with their results. And they have that split with Millard North. And they've got some big ones coming up too, but I think we have seen kind of more WS and Millard North with the way they've been playing recently, kind of established themselves back at the top, which has been the case for the last few years. So everybody else is, I think, kind of trying to get back, figure some things out here as we gear up for the postseason to kind of get back into where we thought, any of 6, 7, however many teams, anybody that makes it to state could have a chance to win this thing.
Jacob, about 30 seconds. Thoughts on the run Pius has been on?
Yeah, that was really impressive. I was there the other night against Kearney. And I think probably the most impressive thing about what Pius has done lately is it's not all Trayson Anderson. The other guys around him have stepped up, and a lot of times the other guys have led them offensively. Kellen Hum has been on a great stretch recently. Aiden Brass has been helping out. Adam Searcy, Parker Kelly off the bench. They just got a lot of different guys that can hurt you. So where a lot of season early on, it was kind of like 20 and 14 for Trayson, and then if they get somebody else playing well, then they got a chance to win. Recently, those other guys have been carrying the load offensively, and he's still got Trayson there on the back line rebounding and protecting things at the rim. So I think that's kind of been the key, is they've just been a more well-rounded team recently, and that's led to their success.
Jacob, we'll check in with you next week. Thanks for the time tonight.
Yep, thanks for having me, guys.
Hail Varsity Radio is live. Now, back to Schmitty.
Schmitty's a great guy, but he don't have a brain.
And Elijah.
You want me to speak? We're not pointing you yet.
On Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you, it's Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager on the road here in Gretna. Great crowd here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We're at the Gretna location just off 204th Avenue. You get in and take a right turn, and, man, this patio is going to be lit up here when it gets a little bit warmer. Incredible fire pits. We're talking those barroom tall fire pits with the tall tables. Elijah, that evil man, bought some sort of clear shot liquid for me to pay for my prediction, steak and beer. I picked against Nebraska. Elijah, what did you order me, you evil man, you fiend?
Well, I got myself one just to show solidarity with you. I think I also owe you one from NFL Championship weekend. Do you want to sniff it? Want to give it the old sniff test? I think you'll know right away.
Sounds very out of context. Vodka?
No.
Rumpelmans.
You son of a gun.
Am I right?
It's the Rumpelmans. All right, we can't do a Rumpelman shot without Scott here.
Well, this is in honor of Scott. We're going to send it up to Scott.
It's in honor of Scott, our dear friend and listener, Scott. So, yeah,
I love that we can just take shots while we're doing our job and nobody fires us.
It's probably highly illegal.
It's only illegal if you're drunk on the air. You can take a shot. One shot's not going to get you drunk.
Okay.
It's the second one that'll get you.
Well, let's hear from Kent Pavelka before we get into the Friday forecast. Let's hear from Jake Milheisen. Let's hear that masterpiece from Nebraska and their legendary play-by-play team. They brought it home. Nebraska brought it home. The upset last night. This was when things got a little interesting if you're a Badger fan, and there aren't any in the room, so I don't know who I'm talking to. But Pavelka, Milheisen, the Huskers, overtime last night, 80-72.
Brings the ball up the floor himself. Chest pass across the timeline. Wilcher with a heat check, 40-footer. Got it! And the Huskers cut it to 7. It was Hoiberg tried to take it away from Blackwell. Blackwell controls it. In the passing lane is Alec. Flips it inbounds. Alec on the floor for it. Flips to Hoiberg. Nebraska down by 6. Hoiberg spins in the paint. Puts it up and in. Puts that puppy up and in. And we've got a 4-point game.
Puts Blackwell in the spin cycle. Stop reaching, freshman.
50-46. Crowd absolutely berserk. 8-1 on the year. 1 on the year. Wilcher's got the ball. Gives to Hoiberg. Reverses right side. Wilcher, he shoots up a 3, and it is good. It is good. Hands it off to Wilcher. Pleasant fights over the screen. The 3-ball good. It's a 2. He's on the line. Gary with it. Top of the circle. Long 3. Mass. Got it. Nothing but net on the CBA. 3 by Mass. Now comes at the elbow. Williams has got it. 6 on the shot clock. Williams, step back 3 on the way. Got it. It's a 2. It's 65-62. 1 possession game. Nebraska down by 3. The pump fake by Mass. Step back 3 on the way. Got it. Holy smokes. The Flying Dutchman with a big 3. And he puts it on the floor. Drives the right wing line. Gathers himself. Hook shot up and down. Side of the floor to Mass between the circles. Back cutting is Gary. Layup good. Oh, my. And an 2.5 to go. Williams drives the ball to the rim. Puts it up. Took a hit. Got it. Should have been an N1. Wilcher comes down the right side. He may have to hoist on the sideline. Bounces it into Mass. Puts it up. Got it. It's going to be in the tournament. And try to keep the Huskers out. Just try it. Missed shot by Chucky. And there's the ball game. The Huskers win it. Final score in overtime. Nebraska 80, Wisconsin 72. And another court storming. Storm that court. Just storm that puppy.
Just listen to it. So awesome.
Aren't you going to start screaming, I love it?
I can't. I don't even know what to say. Unbelievable.
How about that black shirt, man?
Unbelievable.
Oh, my God. I'm not going to make it this year.
I'm not either.
How about that, John? How about that?
How
about that, boys?
This place is going crazy.
That is Mr. Kent Pavelka and Jake Milheisen. Awesome. That is so good. It gets the hair on the back of your neck to stand up, hair on your arms to stand up. You heard the crowd. You were there, a lot of you, and you saw Nebraska pull off magic. Mm-hmm. Without further ado, let's get into the Friday forecast here on Hail Varsity. So we do need, on a serious note, to pass along condolences to Clausburn and Mrs. Clausburn as their lovely pup passed away. And that's no joke. This is not me being a jerk. It sucks when a pet and a member of the family that pets are passes. So we are thinking about Claus and Mrs. Claus.
It should also be noted on a different note for the radio listeners that did not get to see the stream, the Rumpelman shot has been consumed by both me and Schmidt. We are ready to rock for this Friday forecast. Schmidt had an all-time reaction.
Yep, it's one of those that he will no doubt edit down, and I will turn into hilarity.
He's going to turn into a GIF.
Thank you. Prevent defense. That's the reaction you'll see. Fumble on the 2. That's the reaction you'll see. Without further ado, Creighton minus 10.5 tonight. Butler, Barry Collier in the house, going from Nebraska last night to see his Butler Bulldogs at Creighton. Butler needs this. They've got to win against Marquette. They need another ranked win. but I don't think they get it. I think Creighton covers tonight. Give me the Jays by 13, 83 to 70. Creighton win tonight. Will Wilson's wheels are turning on how to scream at me for picking Creighton. We'll get to Will's pick in a minute. Elijah, what say you?
I got to go with Creighton as well. Cover 10.5. I don't think that Butler squad's all that great. I think this Creighton team is really good, despite the fact that they haven't quite been living up to the expectations that were placed in the preseason. They're still very, very good. I think they cover 10.5. I think they beat a Butler squad that just isn't Creighton this year.
Texas at TCU. Jamie Dixon's squad rolling. Texas on the bubble. And there's several thousand horns down T-shirts for the student section to make Texas weep. I do not know the official number. I'm going to say 5.5. Give me the horns at home, 76-70. Elijah.
You're taking Texas?
Yes.
I'm going Texas as well. If there's horns down shirts, Texas, for some reason, plays with another energy. Give me the horns. I like that pick. 78-72.
I skipped you, Will. Jump in. Creighton pick, and then give me the Texas TCU pick.
I'll take Butler with the points. I think they lose, though, 85-82.
Okay.
And I'll take TCU with the upset. Horns down shirts. I like it. I'll take them 77-74.
Moving on, Houston at KU. The old Jayhawks, fog. Let's find a way down to Lawrence tomorrow. How's that sound? We'll say KU -4. And I think KU gets it done. I think they rise up, kind of get back on that one seed discussion. And give me KU 80-75. Just barely a cover. What do you say, Elijah?
I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I think KU wins. I don't think they cover. Give me 74-72 Kansas.
Will.
I'll take Houston 85-80.
Outright at Fog.
All right,
wow.
Love the outright. We'll get into Carolina, Nebraska, Illinois. That's on the way. We'll wind down a road show Friday.
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
One final time, Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, Gretna location just off 204th Avenue. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, Will Wilson. Friday forecast resumes. Thanks for having us out here, Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Thanks to Bill Doleman. Thanks to Jacob Padilla. Awesome stuff as we have spent a lot of time on Nebraska basketball. Deservedly so with the win and comeback over Wisconsin. Carolina, Duke on the road. Carolina, a 1 seed. I'd say we'll put this thing at 5.5 since it's a rivalry. And give me Carolina at home, but give me the Duke cover. Heels by a 373-70.
Got Tar Heels by 10. Give me North Carolina to win this thing 79-69.
It's always a close game. I'll take 72-70 Carolina.
You're just letting that Bill Hooks influence you, huh, Will?
Never. Don't ever say that again.
Nebraska, Illinois, Sunday. No line yet. 10.5, too much?
That's too much. I'll go 8.5.
8.5?
8.5 for Illinois feels about right.
Okay. I'm sorry. I got to see it to believe it. I'm going to get another free shot from Elijah with this bet, but I'm going to take Illinois 81, Nebraska 65.
I hate your pick. Well, go ahead.
Schmitty, I can't agree with you more. Until I see it, I can't do it. 68-60 Illinois.
Bet the mortgage on Illinois at this point. Like, that's how I'm feeling. Like, no
Elijah's driving. We're going to Warhorse. We'll see you there Sunday morning.
No matter what this line is, I will not feel good about Nebraska. If it's a pick 'em, I'm not going to feel good about Nebraska. If it's Nebraska plus 20.5, I'm not going to feel good about Nebraska.
I'd take 20.5.
I'm with you at this point. I have picked Nebraska on the road.
Let's not be crazy.
I have picked Nebraska on the road. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm with you, Schmidt. You have to see it to believe it. Give me Illinois 81, Nebraska 67.
Let's get into Purdue and Wisconsin. Badgers hosting Purdue. Purdue escaped at home against Northwestern. And you have Wisconsin hurting a little bit. Do they take it out? Do they have the hangover? Wisconsin, dude, this is straight up Wisconsin's rebound. They win outright at home, and we'll say pick 'em. Fair?
Sure.
All right. Give me the money line. Give me Wisconsin We'll say 74-70.
I hate how much I agree with you here. 77-74. It's Wisconsin's bounce back. They're back at home. This game has a world of implications because of the Big Ten Conference.
Big Ten,
number one.
Yeah.
It's huge. I think Wisconsin gets the bounce back. I think they get a 77-74 victory.
Yeah, I think it's a bad spot for Purdue. I'll take Wisconsin to win by 10.
Wow.
Eric chimes in, shakes his head at Texas and Creighton picks.
Why are you booing? We're right.
Well, if we're wrong, it's okay.
No, we're going to be right.
Other Brian, as we talk about our friends at Lincoln Weight Loss, says lose a pound of fat a day. Yes, I did. Do the Will Wilson Wing Challenge.
It helps.
I do notice that we didn't put the Pro Bowl, the NFL Pro Bowl.
We are not degenerates. We are gentlemen.
You're betting the Pro Bowl. God be with you.
Oh, it's nice. Hey, we appreciate you all. Back tomorrow, weekend edition, Hail Varsity at 7:45. You got to get out here to the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, Gretna location. You walk in, it smells like childhood. And what I mean by that is you walk into that first pizza parlor.
Oh, yeah.
You ever walked into. It is incredible. Get the Bang Bang sauce. Don't do the Rumplemints. Thank you, Elijah. Thank you, Will Wilson. God love you. Back tomorrow at 7:45 on Hail Varsity.